Donna from Oregon, go ahead.
Hi. The other day, I was ready to go uptown to do some shopping when the mail came. I already had my coat and boots on, but decided to see what had come in the mail before I left. One item was the new Liberator. Since the streets and some of the sidewalks were icy and slick, I thought I might read one thing out of the Liberator that would help me keep my mind on God's constant protection. I opened the book and read a sentence or two. Then something else caught my eye, and I read that too. This went on for about 15 minutes. There I sat all bundled up and ready to go, but was having a hard time putting the little book down. I want to thank those responsible for all the wonderful, inspiring information and articles that go into the Liberator. It's wonderful. Also, I'd like to mention a testimony that was given last Wednesday. They said they lost all desire to drink alcohol with no effort on their part at all. The same thing happened to me very soon after we'd started studying Christian Science. For years, I loved reading novels, but lost all desire to do so with no effort at all. It was just a very natural thing. Instead, I used the time to read and understand Christian Science and the Bible. My practitioner said that's the way it's supposed to be, just very natural. I thank the practitioners for their selfless devotion to helping us and for the way they teach us to help ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeremy.
I am so grateful for what was said at the January 7th Bible study about the need to forgive ourselves. Specifically, the instruction was given to take the words of Christ Jesus, quote, "Son, thy sins be forgiven thee," unquote, and say them to ourselves and really take that message to our inward parts. Since then, I keep finding things in my past that I was holding myself accountable for, and I've been praying about each and then letting them go. Apparently, I really have been holding on to quite a bit. And there are things like getting divorced or not being there for my kids enough, or a lot of times where I treated poorly. There's all kinds of things. So Christian Science is helping me to learn how to be the man God created me to be. And each of these anchors I let go of allows me to progress that much more. It has been such a blessing. My daughter even mentioned that I look taller, and I have to think this is not from not being weighed down as much by the past. This is a process I will gladly continue. I'm so grateful for all the ways that Christian Science, through this church and practitioner support, is making my life so much better. Thank you.
Thank you. Jim from Arizona, go ahead.
Good evening. Today, my heart is filled with gratitude for the many, many blessings received. Yesterday, the new edition of The Lover is a Liberator arrived, and I became so engrossed in it, I nearly forgot our watch. But if I was alerted to it soon enough so I could hear the watch being read. How important these watches are. Mrs. Eddy places a great deal of importance on them, and so should we. Our current magazine was an important issue for me, for it reminded me of to have a stronger Pollyanna attitude and not depend on human will, going from worry to worry, but to strive for the one glory to glory. I am most grateful.
Thank you. Linda from Pennsylvania, go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you for the music and the readings tonight. I am grateful for the fellowship here at Plainfield. It has blessed my life in countless ways. Tonight I would like to share one of them. I had some orthodontic treatments that were needed. I was told that it would be very painful for several days each time. At the time, I believed I had to endure this and thought I shouldn't ask for help from a practitioner. I don't remember why I thought this, but I see now that it was not a thought given to me from God. The day after one of these treatments, I was so uncomfortable and had trouble eating. A person participating here at the church was expressing such confidence in God's loving care and government of His creation but it resulted in the pain diminishing and then disappearing fairly quickly. This, combined with all that I am learning and experiencing in my work with a Plainfield practitioner, the next time I had a procedure, the pain was healed more quickly. During this time, I also learned to let my practitioner know of these details to help me and not to hold back information, thereby losing an opportunity for growth and learning. One time with the prayers of my practitioner, there was no pain after one of these orthodontic treatments. It was a really good lesson not to go along with and not challenge these stated verdicts. Again, I am very grateful for each person who brings their love for God, because together you make this church such a blessing. Good evening.
Thank you. Karen from Kansas, go ahead.
We've been having dire warnings about storms, ice storms, and snow and rain and sleeting rain for weeks now, and eventually it did happen. It was mostly to the west and south of us. I can remember that we saw an ice storm in our area 25 years ago, and it was weeks before the power was returned. I didn't want to experience that again. So when the newscaster told us we were in the area, in the center of the ice storm, I called our practitioner, and she took care of it so well that we only had rain and very little ice. I had, of course, prayed for all in Kansas and the surrounding states, as we are told to in the Plainfield Church. And my gratitude goes to God and our practitioner and everyone's prayers. And when I had practitioner's help, she told me to read watches and prayers and arguments, and I did that. And especially the watch that stuck to my mind was, "Let your minds go out every 2 hours. All is peace, goodwill, love." And of course the one that says, "Love controls the weather." And thank you so much for the testimonies and for the readings and the hymns.
Thank you. Chardell from Pennsylvania, go ahead.
Oh, good evening. Thank you for this lovely and beautiful service. Tonight, I would like to offer my gratitude for our Plainfield Christian Science Church Independent and for everything it does and offers to mankind. This includes the people who work inside and outside of the United States of America. When I first came to Plainfield, I noticed that everything was done with lightning speed, and my head would spin. Since this is all done spiritually, I don't think the workers are always aware of the magnitude of their accomplishments. Thank you to all who make it possible to have this fortress of love that demonstrates exactly what Mrs. Eddy taught in following Christ and loving and obeying God first and always. Thank you.
Thank you. Fairley from Maryland, go ahead.
I am grateful for Christian Science, Mrs. Eddy's work that she did to give us this wonderful science, and the Plainfield Church, where we are receiving instruction and interaction to advance in practicing Christian Science correctly. Thanks to the guidance that I have received from my practitioner here, I have gradually had a healing of my relationship with a member of our family who has been spending time with us. and originally caused a lot of discord and disorder. During the 3 years I've been at Plainfield, I have learned to see everyone as a child of God and separate any error from the person, rebuke it but not the person, and with great compassion. Gradually, this relationship has now become one of respect and assistance. It's totally turned around. And I'm always grateful for God and all the good He prepares for those who love Him. And I thank you very much for the inspiring readings on unity in God.
Thank you. Yeah, this is Bruce, and I'd like to share my thanks tonight because I was helped quite a bit a few days ago about this article that's featured on the homepage of our website, and it's by Charles Spurgeon, and it's called Rejoicing Wards Off Temptation. And the thing that got me the most, I think, was the very first sentence that Mr. Spurgeon wrote, and it goes something like, the Christian may be tempted, but these pleasurable baits are not going to hold much sway to him if he is happy in the Lord. And I think what was getting me at the time, it seemed like one thing or another was coming after me to get me discouraged and not feeling too good. Not exactly pleasurable baits, more of the unpleasurable time, but still it's a temptation nonetheless. And I realized there is no reason why I shouldn't be happy. There's no reason why I shouldn't be happy in the Lord. And it caused me to stop what I was doing right then and just think about a few things that I was very thankful for, which I did. Next thing you know, there was nothing coming at me trying to make me feel bad or discouraged or put any pressure on me. So I'm very thankful for that, because that was a healing. And when it was all done, I remembered some words of a song that we sang here in the church that goes a little bit like this. Trust and obey, for there's no other way to be happy in Jesus than to trust and obey. So I set my heart to resolve to do just that. And there was no more sadness or pressure or discouragement, but only joy going forward. I'm very thankful. Okay, Day or Florence, go ahead.
This is Day. Thank you for tonight's reading on unity. I want to express gratitude for being a part of this church, and I want to briefly share the story of how I got here. I had been attending a local branch church since high school, but I had come to the point where it became harder for me to attend each week. To me, there was an overall feeling of too much niceness, though love seemed non-existent there. I had absolutely no idea where else I would go or what I would do, but one Sunday I just couldn't stand to attend, so I didn't, and I never went back. Not too long after, while feeling very low, discouraged, and uncertain about anything, I began working with a former Plainfield practitioner. I had known about the Plainfield Church for quite a while, though the thought of any direct affiliation seemed impossible and even intimidating. That spring, I joined the weekly Unity Watches, which I was immediately thrilled to be a part of. That fall, I moved to a new city to attend school, and not long after joining the roundtable services, I was encouraged by my practitioner to become a member. Although this was simply suggested, I was overcome with anxiety, as I was extremely apprehensive about joining or belonging to anything ever again. I prayed about it like never before, and with great fear, I found my way to the church membership application, which reads the following quote from the discoverer and founder of Christian Science, Mary Baker Eddy. When one sees that Christian Science is the only way, he is ready for church membership, and there is no other requirement. I was amazed by the simplicity of it all, and although I was most certain that I met the requirement, I read the words over and over just to see if there was any chance to deny it. Needless to say, I completed the application, then prayed, "Father, thy will be done," constantly and almost aggressively while walking to the mailbox outside my building. I even paused a moment to complete my prayer before dropping the application in. It's been a little over 3 years now, and through church instruction, I've started to overcome a lifetime of wrong beliefs. The very experience which I feared would be limiting has been the most liberating, bringing about unimaginable opportunity, resulting in tremendous progress through the freedom of right thinking. Though well into adulthood when I arrived at Plainfield, it is here where my life truly began. That is, my life with God. It is with my whole heart that I thank God for the members and teachings of the Plainfield Christian Science Church Independent, past and present, which have blessed me with the understanding, confidence, and courage needed to bless someone in the future. I thank God for guiding me all the way.
Thank you. Walt.
Thank you. I missed a couple services this year. When I'm not here, I listen on phone, and I like it. I like to say I always think nice on Christian Science and wonderful practitioners, because in this church I increase spiritual feeling like I beside no other church. Thanks, Mrs. Eddy, for discover Christian Science, and thanks for wonderful reading Gary and Bruce. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Gary that gave those wonderful readings tonight, and thank you, Gary. Luann from New York, go ahead.
Thank you. Sometimes I start to think, why do I have to work so hard just to have anything good? Then to answer that question, I remembered. Just before Christmas, the kiln in my pottery shop overfired to about 3,000 degrees, causing everyone's projects to burn up and destroyed the $5,000 kiln. When I started the kiln that day, I got the thought to stay in the shop until the kiln shut off. I dismissed it and went to bed. The next morning, it was glowing red and everything was destroyed. By the mercy of God, the shop did not burn down. I worked all the next day to rebuild it. A couple weeks ago, we got some rain and it started running under the door. I got the thought to get some sealer and seal it up. I dismissed it, telling myself I would do it later. A few days later, we got a heavy rain, and half the shop flooded out. I worked all day to clean the mess. So why do I have to work so hard? It certainly is not God's plan. He was with me every moment, guiding me along. But I was not trusting Him and obeying Him. Before becoming a member of this church, events like these would have had me reeling with frustration. But through all the teaching and guidance I have received, I stayed calm and did the work, knowing there was a solution to every problem. Learning to understand that God is always with me. I need only look within. I'm learning to trust Him with every aspect of my life. I'm so grateful for this lesson and His mercy. I'm grateful for all the learning, for everything I'm learning in Christian Science and the Bible. Very thankful for all the support I'm getting from my practitioner, helping me to understand God more and more with each passing lesson. Thank you.
Thank you. Craig.
Just want to give a lot of gratitude for the readings. And God always has been, but until I came here in this church and worked with members, did I really feel a brotherhood or closeness or even people that were similar to me. Was pretty much a loner most of my life. But I really enjoyed working with the others here who were sincere and wanted to do something useful and felt that God was guiding this. And it's so true. So many wonderful things have been seen. And I don't feel alone. And I feel supported. We go off to work or various things, and sometimes things are difficult, but we always get through them. And in retrospect, I realize God has already done the work, and I've been told that by a practitioner, and that we just have to follow the rules, keep our heart in it, and the truth, know the truth, and step at a time, and we will succeed in whatever we're supposed to be involved in. And it has happened. And I think greatly for the poise of this brotherhood, both all trying to work toward similar ends, has done in Mary Baker Eddy.
Thank you. Sharon.
One Sunday I had some projects to do, and after I finished them, I thought, well, tomorrow I'll go and do my laundry at the laundromat. And I got the thought, no, do it today. I thought, but I had that planned for tomorrow after work. And a bell went off that the last time I had planned something out, practitioner said to me, where is God? That's human will. And I thought, this is God speaking to me. So to be sure, I sat down and I said, okay, Father, what would you like me to do? And I got the thought to go to the laundromat. Well, when I walked in the laundromat, the attendant said to me, what perfect timing. If you would have came earlier, there was no washers or dryers available. This is perfect. There were only 2 other people in the laundromat. By the time I finished, there were several people coming in as I was walking out. I was so grateful to learn here that even though you learn the lesson, error doesn't give up. You have to be alert to what you need to beware of. And human will is something I have to watch out for. I am so grateful for what I'm learning in this church, for all the blessings I've received, practitioner help, and to be a member here. And thank you for the readings.
Thank you. Carol.
I'm very grateful for the readings tonight. They were very timely. And we, all mankind, we're all brothers working together in unity. And the devil would like to rip that apart. But with all this wonderful love and unity going out from this service tonight, it can't be done. I'm so very grateful for this church and grateful to Mrs. Eddy for giving us all the wonderful ammunition we need. Thank you.
Thank you. Florence from Georgia, go ahead.
Thank you. Tonight I'd like to give gratitude for the invaluable message from the readings tonight. It says a lot, but I'm so grateful that through Christian Science, through the understanding made clear by it, we know that all are spiritual and are ideas of God, and that we can look past the errors of each one and see the Christ idea, as you read, that see each mortal in an impersonal depict. I am so grateful for the understanding that we all have the Christ consciousness. This is what Christ Jesus lived. He took care of his holy consciousness by knowing no other mind. And this mind is what we reflect, each one of us. and we must remain aware of it, protect it by not allowing nothing negative to come in. Mrs. Eddy's daily treatment tells us so. The 3 daily duties, the end one tells us so, that we should be aware of what we have and protect it from all the negative silent arguments as well as audible opinions from people and all the other suggestions, aggressive, be it in the form of physical problems or not. If we are reflections of life, truth, and love, I'm so grateful to know that they are the great defense for us. Nothing can go past these 3 if we are aware of them. And it has been helpful for me to take each one, life, look the references up in the Science and Health and miscellaneous writings, truth. Do the same with that, and love. Really study them. It brings it to the heart and brings this invaluable lesson, up front in thought for me to love and to revere and to understand it more and not just talk about them. I am so grateful that we have a lot going on in this church all the time to encourage us never to forget what God is and never to doubt His power and His presence. I'm so grateful to be here tonight, and thanks for all the other testimonies which undoubtedly are blessing people everywhere.
Thank you. Lil.
I'm so grateful for a recent proof of God's loving protection. I was going down my outside stairs at home. It was cold and it recently snowed lightly, so I was moving slowly when one of my knees gave out and I started to fall forward. I loudly yelled, "God good," a couple of times, and suddenly landed softly on the ground. I felt perfectly fine and able to get right up, and I couldn't stop thanking God. He was right there. His arms are always around us, guarding and guiding. Thank you, God, and thank you for the wonderful readings.
Thank you. Mary.
I have a few things to read tonight. First is just a note from Ohio. Thank you for the 2017 calendar, which I received today. My husband and I enjoy looking at it every day, sincerely. And then Virginia, dear fellow members, enclosed is my monthly contribution sent with much love and gratitude for all the blessings found in this church. I look forward to working for and sharing the good that is found here with heartfelt thanks. In Vermont, dear friends, please accept the enclosed check as our end-of-the-year offering to the Plainfield Christian Science Church Independent. We are blessed on a daily basis by the strong practical teachings of pure Christian Science provided on the website by our practitioners, the periodicals, the Bible studies and roundtables, and the beautiful services. A special thank you goes out to all those who testify on Wednesday evenings. And let's not forget the musicians. Their music is truly inspired and a joy to experience. This church is important to us and to the world. We are grateful to every person who contributes to and participates in this church's holy mission. Yours truly. And then from our church website bulletin board, Virginia. Thank you, Chardell, and everyone who contributed to the Bible study January 14th. These studies are rich with facts and history, which contain so many life lessons that are applicable to my life right now. The principles in Caleb's life is wholly following the Lord, are ones to follow and benefit from. Thank you all. In Costa Rica, this Sunday's service was wonderful, and the roundtable shared many good insights. I enjoyed listening to Faith and John singing Heaven's Child. They make a great team. We are making a difference because truth and love do. And then Georgia, the current issue, and that's Love is a Liberator, is another wonderful read. It helps answer some of the questions people have about why Plainfield became independent. Thanks to all the contributors, past and present, and to Luann for that beautiful painting. And Pennsylvania. Every day I become more grateful to Mrs. Eddy for all that she has given us. One thing I think about is the scientific statement of being found on page 468 of Science and Health with Key to the Scriptures. It begins, quote, "There is no life, truth, intelligence, nor substance in matter. All is infinite mind." End quote. This full statement is a perfect treatment. Thank you to God for Mrs. Eddy. Tonight I'd like to say I'm very grateful too for the readings tonight on unity. Many of them so familiar, mainly because, as most of you know, we were involved in a law case in which we were fighting for the right to use the words Christian Science. And during that time, we worked together in unity, and we thought about and used many of the beautiful statements, particularly from Proseworks tonight. And it was so important that Mrs. Evans would tell us, and it's true, one stick you could break, but a bundle you can't. And as we work together in unity, we won a tremendous victory, and our church is, as far as I know, the only independent Christian Science church in existence. And sometimes people ask as to how and why. Well, that is one of the reasons we were able to work together in unity. And to do that, it just means that we were all turning to our Father, Mother, God for guidance. It did not mean, and it does not mean, that we always agree, but when we don't agree, again, we get on our knees, we turn to God for guidance. And the one mind always has the right solution. His plan, not any personal plan, but His plan. And as we follow that plan, we find great good. And every answer, we've always had everything that we've needed to continue going on with this great mission of preserving Mrs. Eddy's pure Christian Science, uncontaminated by ecclesiastical despotism, but pure and free and independent as she intended it to be. I'm so grateful for this. I am so extremely grateful for this church, for Mrs. Eddy, for this wonderful meeting tonight, and to be with you all.
Thank you.